Welcome to this week's episode of Car Stars and Roll Bars. I'm Mike Kinney, your host. Do me a personal favor out there on YouTube. Do the like, subscribe, share, hit the bell. Let everybody know what's going on. Give us some comments. And each episode, we delve all aspects of this amazing, what I call the car culture. We live and breathe. Anything that's got tires and motors in it becomes uber cool. Throughout the weeks, we've had a lot of celebrities. Going to be having builders coming up this year. And now off and on the next few weeks, we're going to have a great selection of automotive museums, because there is a whole pile, as my granddaddy would say. And today we are really pleased. We've got Steve Struss with us, and he's from the Saratoga Auto Museum, and they're in Saratoga Springs, New York. You may have heard of that because there's this giant racetrack there. Well, Steve's been the creative director with them since about 2019 and responsible for brand imaging, marketing, the physical visitor experience, as well as exhibition programming there. He handles all the branding. We talked along with their automotive auctions. We'll be talking about those as well. And recently in 2021, they had the Rare Air and RS Rhinesport exhibits, some of the rarest Porsches ever assembled. And before we bring Steve on board, because you know that old phrase, a picture's worth 1,000 words? Well, how about a great introduction of what this museum is about from the very people in the middle of it? Rick, go ahead and pull up that clip.
We are so lucky to have this museum in Saratoga. We are located in the Saratoga State Park, and we are an old bottling plant, so we change the exhibit twice a year downstairs.
Currently, we have a series of automobiles which reflect the 1950s.
And then upstairs, we have history of racing in New York and cars that have some sort of affiliation with New York State.
The big thing that I liked was the warmness and the welcoming of the people here at the museum.
The people who volunteer at this museum are amazing, and the staff is second to none.
We have over 200 volunteers, so sometimes it's a clubhouse for those that like to talk about cars. Anytime you talk to someone, they always have a story about a car. We have people in and out of the museum every day that just want to come and share their stories, share their experiences.
No one is here for any other reason than they're very dedicated to the mission of the museum and the fact that they want to be a bigger part of what we're trying to do.
It's a great thing for our community.
Wow. And that was a prior video, but I really like because it gives you a sense of just what this museum is about and this huge family, including all the volunteers that pulls it together. So, Steve, welcome aboard, man. We are thrilled to have you with us on the show today. How you doing, brother?
Not too bad. How you guys doing?
Great. And for all the viewers, in addition to have one of the coolest jobs on the planet, he's done creative stuff before other groups. He's a drummer, a musician of many talents. He's done tours with Rockstar Energy Drink. So you're kind of that been there, done that guy.
Yeah, it's another chapter of the life right now. I'm very spoiled in my job today for sure.
Oh, exactly. And before we bring up some pictures, Rick, I just was fascinated the more I learn about your museum, Steve, and just the history of the building. It was built around 1935, I think. So how did you guys end up getting hold of the building before we pull the pictures up? I doubt if somebody just kind of walked up, knocked on the window and said, "Can we use it?"
Exactly. Yeah. No, it was a long labor of love to try to find the right space. Obviously, car museums, you need a lot of space.
Yes.
And to build something from scratch. Saratoga is such a historic, rich place.
Yeah.
Our board of trustees really wanted to find a place that had local ties and had a lot of connection to the community, and repurpose a building that hadn't seen a lot of love in a while. So they found the bottling plant, which we're here now.
Right.
It bottled Saratoga spring water for many years, starting in the 30s all the way up to the 70s, and unfortunately went out in the late 70s, 80s, and was repurposed for various storages and stuff like that for many years, until one day it was deemed to be the perfect place for a beautiful car museum. So we've been here. We actually just celebrated 20 years about 2 months ago.
Cool.
So we're excited for our next 20 years here.
So Rick, go ahead and pull up some pictures of this building. This is back in the day, I do believe, right? When it was still an active bottling plant, right?
That's right. That's right after it opened.
Oh, really? And I think we've got one of the guys are on the assembly line, so to speak, doing their thing. Wow. Even the attire of that worker kind of takes you back, right?
Yeah. very period correct for sure. Yeah.
And so now we got some.
Too,
Go ahead.
I'll say the beautiful thing about the building is when they refurbed it back to the modern space it is today, as you'll probably see in the next photos here, a lot of that's been maintained. So, everything from our big palladium windows that give us all that beautiful natural light for the cars, through all the historic original flooring and walls and windows, everything. It wasn't just wiped clean and started fresh. We have this beautiful gallery space. That's our main gallery there. Gallery
That's breathtaking, man.
It's when you walk into that space and see no matter what cars are in there, or for an event or whatever it is, it kind of takes your breath away. So
yeah, I would believe so. I found this, and so for all the viewers, because Steve, like you and I talked, I'm a firm believer in having skin in the game. I like to get engaged and help. So you can get an opportunity to buy a brick, for lack of a better phrase, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a program that we've been doing for a while now, where a part of our walkway leading up to the front doors of the museum, a lot of repurposed bricks, either from the building or from the age, and you can have it inscribed with a message of a loved one or your name or your favorite car or whatever it may be, and it'll be locked away for all of our visitors to see for forever.
Well, dude, make sure to sign me up. Can I do something about my Superbird, or is it, cause it's not a Porsche,
That's fine. We love them all, so it's all good.
Very, very cool. Now we have, what's neat with this property for the viewers, this is around, let me look at my notes and make sure I get it wrong. You're around 2,500 acre property that you guys are in. So you have this great museum. So it gives you what I would call a really big footprint to have different events. And you call them some lawn shows. And actually, the best way, again, I'm such a fan of really cool video, right? So before we do some of the shots, the pictures from a couple of your events, I think we got a pretty spiffy video. Everybody fasten your seatbelts, hold on to something. This is a pretty cool show. See if we can get that one video to come up, and we'll be rocking and rolling.
It's in the wrong spot.
Whoops. Hold on. We're going to shuffle a couple of video clips around. Oh, hold on. Back up. You're good. I jumped ahead. It was my bad. We're going to look at some cars first. That was Mikey trying to figure out his brain pattern this morning. I have my notes, and this is what happens when you totally ignore notes. And Steve goes, "Yeah, I've been there, dude." So I think we got a series of cars we can look at before we talk about our events. Now, this entry is stunning, and this is kind of like the history of Detroit, right?
That's right. So this is the view you get when you come up off our elevator onto the second floor.
Wow.
As that first clip kind of described, our second floor is kind of broken up into some more of our permanent collection of cars. And we separate it between what we call East of Detroit, which is the history of auto manufacturing on the East Coast. A lot of people don't know that a lot of early cars around turn of the century were actually made in New York, despite Detroit getting a lot of the credit. So all those cars on that side are featured, have some type of East Coast or specifically New York connection. And then slightly behind it there, you can see the racing in New York State. There's a long, rich history of motorsport here as well, too. So we have all cars that have raced or have some tie here to the New York State. So,
wow.
It's a really cool space.
Whoa. Now, that's a front end, man. That's just massively cool.
Exactly. Yeah, it's our beautiful 36 Ford Phaeton. That thing is, we take that out on parades. We take it out. It's one of the cars that we keep ready to go at all times because it's, you don't have to love cars to love something like that.
And I refer to some of these affectionately eye candy, right? Because they just catch your breath. Now, this is like an amphibious air type of plane?
Yeah, that's our Amphicar.
Yep.
It's self-proclaimed by the people who made it. It's not the best car and it's not the best boat, but at least you can do both. Ours was very generously donated to us by a local resident here in Saratoga. And the car runs. We're still working on the floating part. It's a little harder than one day we hope to drive it into the lake here.
Yeah, because when you think about with that, it may not go, but hello, I think I see some fairly modern muscle here. Ooh.
Absolutely. Yeah, this was a Mustang exhibit we did with Carroll Shelby, actually. So this was a couple years ago. Carroll Shelby actually was pretty involved in our early years here. him and some friends helped get the museum started at a national level using their influence and stuff. So we were fortunate to have some of his cars here at the museum as well.
Wow. And to have Carol involved, you know it's going to go well. And there ain't much better than having some dirt track vehicles out here, right? Wow.
That's it. Upstate New York, we're famous for our dirt tracks.
You bet.
The dirt world is super popular up here. So this is a wing sprint car that we have that was donated to us a couple years ago as well. That's in our permanent collection now. It's one of those things that if you grew up with it, it's a common sight. But for someone who's never seen one of these cars before, I've seen kids just stare at this thing for 10 minutes straight. It's unlike anything else for sure.
I'm probably like, I grew up around sprints to begin with, and when they go screaming by you coming out of turn 4, they just kind of take your breath away.
They sure do. Yeah, and that's one of our big favorites too. That's our Maserati Poison Lil, as it's known. The car's got lots of race experience, qualified for the Indy 500 twice. It ran some early Watkins Glen dirt road tracks and everything too. It's one of our most popular cars here at the museum for obvious reasons. It's unreal, it's beautiful, and when that thing starts up, you know it for sure.
So it's a Maserati. So about what year is that, Steve?
That's a 35.
30. And that's the ones that give me pause. The technology in 1935 wasn't near advanced what it is now, and yet look what they're able to do. Of course, it's a Maserati, so by definition, right?
Right. And that car's famous too because other than being terrified to drive it because the drive shaft runs right between your feet, and you're definitely going to burn your arm with those exhausts. You can see in the front wheels there, you can kind of see it in that shot. There's some pretty interesting brake cooling going on, and it was revolutionary for that car. It was known to... obviously these cars, like you said, the technology wasn't quite there, so they had to come up with pretty creative ways to get ahead of their competition, and they found a way to keep the brakes cool so you can go further in the race with them. So pretty advanced stuff.
Very, very cool. Hello. Now this is serious racing, and it looks like that might be part of a racing suit laying there.
It is, yeah. So this was from a Dyson racing exhibit we did a couple of years ago as well. That car is a Lola Mazda prototype car that we actually have in a permanent collection upstairs now. That was graciously given to us by the Dyson racing family, who are local and friends of the museum here. We did an exhibit with a bunch of their cars. The Dyson family goes back to the 80s, running IMSA, running Porsche 962s with all the greats, and the son Chris Dyson continues to race today, and he's in Trans Am now, beating everybody in Trans Am. So very nice of them to give us that car and the race suit that goes with it, and that car's still available to be seen at the museum now.
And what's great, just hold that shot for a second, Rick, is for all our viewers, when you go to a museum like this one in Saratoga, you don't get to see this type of vehicle just parked at the local Walmart. Right.
Yeah, and we're really passionate about getting people up and close. We can't necessarily let you in the cars and touch them all the time, but we're really, we want to get you as close as possible to get that experience. Because where else, like you said, where else did you ever see a car like this? So
it probably ain't gonna happen, as my granddaddy would say, right? What now? If there's kind of like a money shot, this has got to be it, right? There's your great building, great banners, and what is hovering there just waiting ready to go kick somebody's butt?
That is our Allard J2. That's also part of the museum collection now too. That thing is that's quite the car. That's something else we take out all the time. We drive it around the park. We take it out to car shows and stuff like that. It's an unbelievable car with some great race pedigree. It actually raced, despite being 20 years newer than that Maserati, it actually raced alongside that Maserati at Watkins Glen at one point.
Really?
There's some cool 8-minute video of the two of them going neck to neck, which is pretty cool. So any chance we get to pull that thing outside, we do it for sure.
Cool. And Rick, if you can pull us both up on screen for a second, and there is so much that goes on at your property. I got to be candid, Steve, because I do a lot with many different museums. Some of them are more static, if you will. I think you guys have a great approach. You're very careful what you bring into your museum to begin with. You want to let all the attendees, they get as close as they can to them. They really get to experience that. Now, and you get around, what you said, around 50,000 visitors a year, right?
Yeah, that's our goal for this year is to, we're very close to it coming up. Saratoga's a tourism-based city, so we have a big window in the summer that we get most of our traffic, but we're trying to do year-round programming to keep people coming year-round.
And you do some events on property, and As I understand, when you have chatted before, is like car clubs, you have like a board, like a director's boardroom, they could use for some of their club meetings as well, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So our events, obviously we have a pretty grand space, so you can rent that out for everything from weddings to parties like that, all the way down to your local car club meeting. We have a couple of rooms here, depending on the size of the group and what you're looking for, to hold your weekly or monthly meetings, all that kind of stuff. So
Beautiful.
No group is too big or too small for us here.
And I talked to, and you're not the only museum now that's kind of realized as what a great approach for someone who's passed that was into cars to have a celebration of life at a property like
Exactly. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing to do, and it's something different. Someone who's really passionate about it, and like we had someone do it just this past year, and it was a really beautiful and a unique way to celebrate someone's life. So.
And just kind of sign me up, and we can, figure out how to get my Super Bird out there, and we can have it in the corner, You guys, and you do a lot of different ways to raise funds, and I think you do a couple auctions a year. Is that correct?
We do, yeah. We've been doing the Saratoga Motorcar auction. This will be our 6th year now.
Okay.
We do that right here in town in Saratoga. That's our primary fundraiser for the museum.
Perfect.
We typically do around 300 cars plus memorabilia over the course of 2 days.
Nice.
So other than it being a great family event, it's basically a giant car show. We have vendors, we have some stuff, and it's just fun to kind of watch. People love watching, auctions on TV and stuff. So to come see it in person is even better. And we actually just started a second auction down in Naples, Florida. That runs in February. This will be our 2nd year doing it coming up now. Nice. So a little change of scenery for us in the colder months, which is nice.
Little change of pace in February for you guys up north, all right?
We go down there enough.
And in the intro video, they thank their volunteers. And as I understand, there's quite a few different ways for people who live close to you all to become a volunteer and help what's going on at the museum, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. The volunteers are absolutely the lifeblood of our museum. Without them, we simply would not be able to exist in any way. So we have different levels for you to volunteer at, whether you want to just help out at a specific event. We have a lot of people that come in just for our auction. We have about 200 volunteers just for the auction alone. But we have docents that volunteer their days during the week at the museum here to kind of help lead tours and show people around. There's lots of different ways you can help out. So if you're in our area and you want to help out, let us know.
Well, so if you ever need an old white-haired wannabe video podcaster or a hot rodder guy, just give me a call, man, and we'll work something out.
Invitation's always open.
Cool. And I always look for taglines or phrases that kind of reflect like a given museum. And I found one for you guys: cars move kids through life. Can you give us a little insight? Because I think that's pretty cool.
Absolutely, yeah. So a big part of what we do is education-based and ensuring that the next generation of car enthusiasts is just as passionate and just as well informed and just as well supported. Having a space where car lovers of all ages can gather and share stories and share the history and share information is super important to us, and it's really the core of our values. So everything we do, whether it's our exhibits, our events, our outreach to schools and stuff, all really kind of stem back to making sure that the audio enthusiast is well equipped.
Yeah. And well, you ought to be commended on that, because you and I've chatted before, and I've been with SEMA forever, and there's a lot of discussion just how the different opportunities we have to get the youth, as Joe Pishy would say, to get them involved, and they start catching that passion early in life, right? So it's really paid forward.
Exactly, and it's giving them a seat at the table too. We see it at concours and everything that we go to. There's a lot of talk, people being concerned that the world of the car lover or the collector or whatever isn't as strong as it was.
Yes.
And I, being someone younger myself, completely disagree. I think it's the exact opposite. I don't think it's ever been stronger.
Oh, good.
You just have to be more open-minded about. Kids are excited about Supras and Skylines and not so much the older cars, and that's fine. It's different strokes for different people. So it's, as long as they love cars, we don't care if it's on 4 wheels. We'll take it.
That's exactly the way I look at it. Some people that look down at their nose are like the newer imports, and they're tricking them out and doing body mods on them. I said, to me, it's their version of a hot rod, right? So they still got the passion. Exactly. It's just framed a little differently. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to go into Mr. Peabody's Wayback Machine from Rocky and Bullwinkle. Anybody, viewers go, oh my goodness, I remember that. Now, before we start talking about some events, I think we have a cool video we're going to run. Sorry. Now, anybody in within about what I would say 1,000 miles, 2,000 miles of driving distance to your property, after you see that, you want to be at your show, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we throw quite a good party, so it's fun to stop by.
A lot of stuff, and I think we've got some event shots as well. Now, we'll kind of take our time walking through these, Steve, so let us know what we're seeing here, brother.
Sure. So that opening clip you just saw there was from our spring auto show just a couple months ago. We do car shows literally every week during the summer, if not multiple during the week.
Wow.
And we kind of have different themes. So the spring auto show is one of our big, whatever you got, bring it kind of shows.
Yeah.
We typically get 800 plus cars for that thing.
Stars.
So that's a big one. And that property you saw is just next to the building there. We're in a giant state park. So like I said, we have 2,500 acres here that we take full advantage of for sure. And like you were saying just a few seconds ago, we don't discern, car enthusiast is a car enthusiast to us. So we had our first ever Tesla electric car show here last year, and we had a bunch of different Tesla owner groups come up, and they're just as passionate as we are with being petrol heads. So,
Beautiful.
like we encourage everything. As long as it's a celebration of four wheels, we encourage it.
Excellent. I think we got a couple more shots. And where you got cars, you got to have people, you got vendors, so there's stuff to do, right?
Absolutely, yeah. We try to make a fun weekend event for people to come by, and being in the park where there's a couple other museums here, it's a beautiful historic place to come walk around and spend your day. So it's nice to stop by, grab some lunch, take some cool pictures and stuff like that, and great for all ages. You see, we got literally everyone represented.
Yeah, that is now that's a cool shot.
Yeah, this is from one of our Porsche car shows last year. Wow. It's from the roof of our building looking out, and that's the view we get out of our offices every day. It's not too bad. So.
Oh, dude. You haven't got an intern position for an old beat-up hot rodder, do you? I mean, maybe I can work out the commute.
We can move some stuff around for sure, yeah.
Wow. No, those are Audis?
Yeah, we do. So we have a big show coming up this weekend. It's a tuner car show. And again, promoting, just the love of automobiles, no matter what it is. We do Model T shows, we do modern German car shows, all that kind of stuff. So we're open to it all.
That's great. So is that some Porsches?
Some more Porsche stuff. Yep. Yeah, last year when we did those two big Porsche exhibits with Porsche North America as a backer with us, we did a bunch of different Porsche car shows throughout the summer. We had lots of members of the PCA come up, the owners group, and talk about some really, really passionate car lovers. Man, you talk to a Porsche car owner, and you're talking to them for 3 hours about their love, and it's all good.
I love it. And I love Art Deco. I love big chrome, and I saw this, and now is that off of the hood?
I believe so. I think that's a hood emblem off of. Can't really tell exactly what that probably is, but it's everything comes down to the details, and our building being built 30s and everything. Our whole second floor is kind of Art Deco themed, beautiful. So
beautiful.
We love Art Deco where we can get it.
Excellent. I think we got, so here's an example of some of the trophies. So it looks like different groups, they will come in and kind of present their own awards as well, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. We not necessarily a concours, but we do offer awards to all of our shows, especially our big summer and spring auto shows.
Sure.
And we encourage, car clubs to either make their own awards or we'll produce them like this. And it's a nice little keepsake from time at the museum.
Exactly correct. And for all the viewers out there, if you're around a car show or you think about hosting one, and I've always been a big fan of having just some discreet awards, not 200 of them, because it really instills a little bit of pride in whoever the recipient is, and for organizations like yourself in the museum, they put it in their garage, they put it in their man cave, and they talk about it, right? So other people get a chance to learn about your museum before they even find out where you are.
Exactly, yeah. It's free marketing for us.
It's free marketing, and we can't leave without pointing out lots of people behind the scenes, people doing stuff. So was this from probably like a gala or a fundraiser for you guys?
This was actually just shot in June. This was our 20th anniversary we had, and this is a great array of some really influential people here at the museum. In the center there, the young lady there, that's Carly Connors. That's our executive director.
Yeah.
She's been with us for 5 or 6 years now, and she's really, between COVID and a shifting world that we live in these days, she's really kind of steered the ship the right way, and she's been instrumental to our success as of late. And surrounding her are some early trustees and founders. To the far right of that photo, second in, that's Bob Bailey, who, other than being a very accomplished Porsche team driver for many years, is one of our founding members as well, and all around super helpful guy when it comes. I work with Bob probably once a week on our exhibits and our program and stuff.
Perfect.
Right to his right, in the back in the white, that's Gary Brown. He's instrumental in our auction. Next to him is Jim Taylor, who's a very noted car collector and has a big auction coming up in October with a bunch of his cars. And to his right is Stephen Harris, who's the owner of all those Porsches we had just last year. Who's got, arguably recognized by Porsche, probably the finest Porsche collection in the country and one of the best in the world. So all those guys there and gals, they're super influential. Of course, we have Pam Yates in the photo. I don't know how I even skipped Pam Yates, the wife of Brock Yates, and all around awesome automotive person in general. So we're very fortunate. We work with some really great people who, and at the end of the day, they all want what's best for the museum. They want to see this place stay open for future generations, and we can't thank them enough for their support every day.
And I always look as a great discussion on what goes on with your trustees, because a lot of organizations, they do like to stay behind the scenes, but it's always good to make sure they get some recognition as well.
Absolutely, and they fully deserve it too. I get to work with this great board every week, and they
nice.
support me, and they support our vision for the future. So we're happy to. I don't skip their calls. Some people I do, but not them.
Oh, that explains why I went to voicemail. So.
Yeah, oh, sorry about that. Yeah.
So this is really cool. So you can tell that this guy's one happy camper, right? It's just...
Wow. I'm not sure if it's because he won Best in Show or if it's because he gets to drive that beautiful 356 back home. But this is from that same Porsche year. And because we worked with Porsche, it opened up a lot of cool opportunities. So we actually had a bunch of these cool Lego Porsche sets donated to us from Porsche. Nice. We gave them out to all the award winners for the year too. So kind of something different.
Absolutely. Now, who's this guy?
That's me. That would be me with slightly longer hair from a previous year. But that's we're out shooting this gorgeous Ford for an ad that we were doing, and I got caught in the moment photographing the car here. So
no,
a beautiful day just like today.
Yeah. So we got the car, we got you, and we got the building, and this is kind of like a winter chicken dinner.
That's it. Yeah, that's perfect.
So to roll this up like the 50,000 foot level for people who have not had the chance to visit the Saratoga Museum, just what makes you guys unique? That's
a great question. We really champion car enthusiasts at any age, at any level, and any love of cars. Some museums are brand specific or have a certain a focus that they focus on. We currently have an exhibit of 80s and 90s cars. To someone like me, I would love to go see, because those are the cars I grew up with. We have a Bugatti EB110 and a Porsche 959 downstairs, things that I grew up with posters on my wall of.
Cool.
And then, another exhibit down the road, we'll do French 30s cars and Delahaye's and Cords and stuff, So we really we want to give a place for car lovers and enthusiasts to meet each other, to gather, and to share the passion. So that's kind of our shining light.
So how do people get a hold of you guys? How do they find you?
You can find us here in Saratoga Springs. We're easy to find. Beautiful state park. You can also find us online, saratogaautomuseum.org.
Perfect.
You can find us on tons of social media. We've been really big on social media the last couple months now too. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all that kind of stuff. And if you have any need to contact me, that's my my office line there and my email. So feel free. I'm pretty good at getting back to email, so feel free to shoot me one if you have any questions or.
Well, before we say goodbye, I always have a few closing discussion ideas. So to date, who's been your favorite mentor that's helped the trajectory of your career leading up to what's going on in your amazing position now with the Saratoga Automobile Museum?
That's a great point. I have to shout back, and this is a shameless plug because I have a meeting with her in just a few minutes, but our executive director here, Carly,
cool.
I worked for a separate marketing agency before working here, and a passion and a love for this job. And she may have stolen me from that marketing position, and she's been fantastic as far as giving me the resources and the direction I need to make this place really special.
Well, make sure to tell Howdy for me. She was the first connection I had when I reached out to your museum, so it's a small world.
Yeah.
Okay, before we get out of here, we're about the end of the show. What is to date? What is your favorite automotive memory?
Oh, that's tough. I grew up with cars all my life, so
Right.
I originally wanted to say something with that, but it did get trumped just last year during that Porsche show we had. The collector who owned all those cars, Stephen Harris, thought it would be fitting if the museum and I had a car to drive for the summer.
What?
He didn't happen to have a Porsche, so he lent me his 911 RS to drive for the summer, and it words. Yeah, began to cruise around that thing. Was I texted him probably once a week asking for another year of it again. So that was really special, and that's a really special car. So
Wow. So he just let you borrow it. Wow.
Yeah. Perks of having the collection that he has is that's what he considered his car. So happy to oblige.
There you go. The last question I promise, and this one might be kind of tough for you, has been for other featured guests. What is your favorite automobile?
Ooh, that is tough.
Yeah, I figured it would be.
Up until recently, it's now probably that 72 911. There's something about that car.
Yeah.
It's perfectly balanced. It's very visceral. It's raw. It's everything that we say we like in cars. Just still, that's not overly flashy. You can get in and drive it every day. It's not going to leave you stranded. Love that thing.
Too cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, and you have a good weekend. And you never can tell. We may show up. We got to check out one of your shows, man.
You're always welcome. Come on by.
All right, brother. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye for now.
You as well. Thanks, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this week's episode of Car Stars and Roll Bars. We want to thank Steve Struss and everybody there at the Saratoga Automotive Museum in Saratoga Springs, New York. Great examples of collector cars and everything that happens. You got to go check them out when you're in that neck of the woods. And until next time, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and hit that bell so you know what's coming up. Until then, enjoy the ride.